What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the 279th episode of the Alfa Insurance GHSA Georgia Prep Sports Drive for the GHSA State Title. Today we're going to probably have a shorter show, but we will be joined by Houston County head coach Jeremy Edwards at 12:20 to talk about the big matchup tonight, number 4 Houston County against number 5 Lee County. And this is a big 6A matchup, Region 1 opener. I'm excited to see them in person. Based on the rankings, as you just heard, Houston County is higher. A lot of people are looking at 6A right now, and they think both these teams have potential to possibly take it this year. But then the crazy stat is how successful Lee County has been against Houston over the years. They're 9-0 all time. They had a big win last year, and so we'll talk about the keys to the game and what Houston County is going to have to do to take advantage of home field tonight and to get over the hump and get a win over the Trojans. We're also going to highlight my top 30 games, but then I want to start with our Friday feature on my featured team, sponsored by georgiaconstructioncareers.com. I wrote this up yesterday on Score Atlanta just with some context on why this is such a dramatic turnaround campaign for Providence Christian. So let's just look at some of the numbers. They have an opportunity tonight to improve to 5-0 against Kings Ridge. What I find interesting about the 2023 season, when you compare records last year to this year, like at this point, most of the schedules are identical, as you know. They just flip like home field or away, but it's the same teams. And so when you see a team at this point that's 6-0, and then you look last year and they were like 2-4 or 3-2, you can get the sense of what programs have kind of improved, maybe taken a step back, which ones will hit their stride. A team like Harrison really came on strong last year in the latter half, but this year they're off to a great start, so you can kind of see that as a continuation of the experience they gained. But Providence, they've never seen anything close to this success. Tonight's game against Kings Ridge, they did not face them last season, so that is a game they picked up, so you can't really look at that. However, it is a team they have faced previously. They're 1-1 all time. And in the 10-year history of Providence Christian, they have only had 2 region victories. They've never won more than 1 region game in a season. Their best finish all time was 2018. They finished 4-6. They've never made the playoffs before. They're in a tough region. We'll talk about that as well. But this is the final non-region game. They're going to play Kings Ridge. I think it's the first time they played in a few seasons. But this is a big opportunity for them, so let's look at it. It's a pretty short article, but historic milestones have been achieved by several programs this season. We talked about how it's a good metric because you can't really compare it as much as you could like last season, because a lot of these teams are in dramatically new regions. Some went to new classifications. Look at a team like Marist or BT making huge jumps. So it wouldn't be really accurate to compare it, but when it's the same opponents, you can. Some of the programs that stand out on historic starts: McDonough, their first ever 3-0 start. Ola, they're undefeated. They've never had to start like this. North Atlanta, they almost did it last year, but this year they beat Wheeler. This is their best ever start. But Providence Christian in 2A and their 4-0 start has already matched the highest win total in the school's 10-year history. The 4-6 2018 season was the first time in school history that Providence Christian won multiple games in a season. So before that, one win was their most. In the season since, they've never produced more than 2 victories until this year. And then I mentioned 2017 and 18 were the only times they won a region game. So let's look at this 4-0 start and the opportunity for first-year head coach John Russ heading into Friday's trip to Kings Ridge with a chance to not only improve to 5-0, but hit the new mark for most wins in a season. And to do it just 5 games in would be pretty incredible. He had previously served as a coordinator and assistant coach under Jeff Saturday at Hebron Christian. That's when he got a lot of his experience. He is very complimentary of what Jeff Saturday taught him. We know he's the first ever coach to make a jump from high school straight to the NFL when he was the interim coach last year for the Colts. That was a wild situation. They won the first game and then struggled later, but he certainly has experience coaching at that level. And so he gets this opportunity, and then he took over for Joe Sturdivant, who was only at Providence for a season before taking over the Parkview job this year, his alma mater. All right, so Providence's latest victory was a record-setting 71-0 win over Athens Christian, and that increased its margin of victory this season to 42 points per game. Just a wild turnaround. They've also scored a 53-15 win over St. Francis. St. Francis was I believe a semifinal team last year. They did lose a lot of players from that team that transferred out, but still that's a sizable victory. They had a 32-10 road win over Whitfield Academy and then a 51-13 win over Riverside before the 71-0 shutout. This is the third all-time meeting between Providence Christian and Kings Ridge. It's tied 1-1. Providence Christian won the last meeting 14-9 in 2018. Kings Ridge was a 2014 winner in 2019. So stay tuned tonight. We'll see if they can get that big win heading into region play. I think the toughest opponent within the region is likely going to be Fellowship Christian. So that'll be a huge test, but I find it very interesting with all these teams that have set out the goal to take the next step. They certainly are doing a phenomenal job this season, and that is exciting. All right, so let's go over my top 30 games for the week. Okay, that was last week. One sec. All right, and so some of these games I picked because we're going to be at the Houston County, Lee County game, and so Thomas County Central, that's obviously a very relevant game because they're also in that Region 1, and I know both the fans watching the game tonight are going to want to know how Thomas County Central does, so they will be at Veterans. They are currently the highest ranked team in Region 1. They're, I believe, at number 2 behind Gainesville. Might be number 3 in some of them, but nonetheless, they are slightly ahead of Houston and Lee. Region 1 is the only region in the entire state that has 3 teams in the top 6 of the poll, and that's the composite polls. So all of those 3 teams are highly touted this season heading into their region openers. So Thomas County Central at Veterans will be a big game to watch. All right, Appling County at Pierce County. That is a phenomenal matchup in 3A. Appling County is currently the number 1 ranked team. Pierce County is undefeated. We've seen them have a great run in recent years. We know they won the state title a few years back, and that's always a great matchup between those two powerhouses. Brookwood at Archer. This is a big game in that crowded region. We know Parkview, Grayson, Newton, they're all going to be in the mix, and so this one's going to determine the playoff implications. You also have South Gwinnett in that region. So Archer's going to be at home. Brookwood has had a couple good wins in a row. The comeback against Carver Columbus last week, they beat South Forsyth on a Thursday game. And then Archer has also been battling, so we will see who wins that matchup. Buford at Collins Hill should be interesting. Collins Hill has an extremely talented defensive line. That's certainly the strength of their team. Their offense has struggled. They're going to try to make it as difficult as possible on that Buford offense. We'll see if Buford's able to run the ball, establish that part of the game, and then allow Dillon to stretch the field with his arm. But I think that'll be an intriguing matchup, region opener, and then obviously Buford has the big Mill Creek game looming. Cambridge at Greater Atlanta Christian, a big 5A matchup. Greater Atlanta Christian is one of those teams that's had a phenomenal turnaround. I believe they're 5-0. You also have Kell in that region as a potential favorite, and so I think this one's going to be big. Both those teams will obviously face Kell later on, but determining who wins that region. And Cambridge replaced a lot of players, but they've started to look like themselves in recent weeks. All right, Cartersville at Calhoun. That's another crowded region. Cartersville has shot up in the 5A poll behind Creekside. I think they're at number 2 right now. Calhoun has won every outing since their loss to Blessed Trinity in the opener. Last year, Calhoun had a huge lead on them. Cartersville's quarterback went down. Their freshman stepped in and led them to a dramatic comeback. Obviously, their quarterback is back after having success as a freshman. He looks outstanding, and Cartersville just has so much speed at their skill positions. One of the fastest teams in the state, and certainly 5A. So big test for Cartersville on the road to set themselves in that region. All right, Cedartown at Central Carroll, big time Region 7 opener. Central Carroll's undefeated. Cedartown has won a couple impressive results lately. They've played a tough schedule, and they're coming off a big win over Dalton. That will definitely test to see how good Central Carroll is going up against that physical Cedartown team. All right, Creekview at Etowah, a good Cherokee County matchup. I think Creekview is a team that's going to make some noise this season in 6A. They're always a tough opponent. East Paulding at Noonan, a big-time matchup. Najee head coach Hirschfield on yesterday. East Paulding is 3-2. They are a few plays away from being perfect this season, but this is a big-time matchup as they get ready to play Douglas County and Hughes later on in the region. All right, Fellowship Christian at Rabun County. That will be a good one right there. In 2A, Flowery Branch at Clark Central. Clark Central's coming off a tough loss to Jefferson. Hebron Christian at Oconee County. It'll be a big test. Oconee County is trying to shake off some of those early losses this season and get back to form. They did lose Whit Weeks, who was a do-it-all player. And as Najee also pointed out, he's starting now on the LSU defense. His older brother is also a linebacker there, and that's just how good he's been because he's actually, I think, jumped his older brother for the starting job. And his older brother also plays. Hiram at Dalton, that is a big-time matchup, similar to that Cartersville-Calhoun, same region right there. Jefferson at Winder Barrow. Lanier at Gainesville. How will Lanier look against Gainesville, who's ascended to number 1 in the poll? They look like they're getting better every week. Newton at Grayson. North Atlanta at St. Pius. Can they rack up another win and set up a big-time matchup with Marist later on? New Hampstead at Benedictine opening their Region 3 schedule. Monroe area at Stevens County. Stevens County has dominated so far. That's a big 3A matchup. North Oconee at North Hall, a big Region 8 matchup. I think they're both 2-0 at this point. North Paulding at Walton. See if who's going to come out in that battle of unbeatens. Northside Warner Robins at Tift County. That's another Region 1 matchup that fans tonight will be interested in. Ola at Warner Robins, undefeated Ola against Warner Robins in Region 1 5A. You got Parkview at South Gwinnett. Roswell at Blessed Trinity, a huge rivalry game, big region test for the Titans. Thomas County Central at Veterans, we already mentioned that one. Trinity Christian at Stars Mill, both those teams are 2-0 in Region 4. Stars Mill is coming off their win over Troop, who was without Teo Todd for the first time this season. Wayne County at Burke County, both those teams are in the same region as Benedictine. The winner of that, which Burke County looks phenomenal. They're undefeated. They posted a shutout last week. Will potentially challenge Benedictine for the region title. You got Wesleyan at undefeated Lumpkin County. Wesleyan's coming off a big win over Gilmer. Westminster at Holy Innocents. Big time matchup in Class 4A. Holy Innocents looks phenomenal. And then Woodland Cartersville at Cass. I want to see that result because we'll be covering Cass next week. So there is my top 30 games. We'll be covering all of them at scoreatl.com/scoreboard. But stay tuned tonight. We'll have updates throughout the game. But let's go ahead. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be joined by Coach Edwards on the other side.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, does it matter if this leaks?
It don't matter to me, can't see it from my house.
Illegal use of hands, improper training.
GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com has 14 different highly skilled trades with tuition-free training in our certified apprenticeship programs to train you the right way. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Okay, so Coach Edwards popped on, but it looks like it froze up. I'm trying to find if they did the Maxwell ranking so I can see what the computer model is saying about this matchup. Let me find that. I think this is a tough pick for a lot of people because you look at how successful Houston County's been this season offensively. They got one of the most dangerous attacks out there. AJ Hill's lighting it up. He's not turning it over. He's experienced. He's tall. He's big. He's a really special prospect. And I've also heard that the Houston County defense has stepped up. All right, Coach, how's it going?
How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. I know it's going to be a busy day, but yeah, let's get into it. What have you seen this season just from last year, kind of the steps you've taken? Let's start with the defense because I've been hearing that people have been impressed this season with how that defense has gone out there and competed.
Yeah, defense has done a great. I tell you what, we've been able to add some pieces to our staff who have made a tremendous impact already on our program. Not only from a culture standpoint, weight room standpoint, and so I think those guys have done a great job of building on what we started last year.
Yep, and I mean, all these teams you've played, that's what makes high school football so great. They all kind of have their strengths and weaknesses, their own style. obviously with Lee County, you saw him last year. You know how talented that running back is. So what do you guys need to do tonight to just tackle well and make it as difficult as possible for them to get that early success on first and second downs?
Yeah, I mean you're right about that. It's going to take more than one guy to get him on the ground. So he makes it go for them offensively. They get the ball to him in a variety of ways. Whether it's running him or throwing it to him, lining him out wide and throwing it to him. So we got to be prepared for everything when it comes to that. The quarterback is a big thing also. Tote the rock a little bit, so we got to be aware of where he's at all times. And we got to start fast. Last year they jumped up on us 22-0 in the first quarter, and by the time we settled down, it was a little too late. So we got to start fast tonight, and I think it'll help us be a little bit more successful.
Certainly. And then offensively, just in terms of that offensive line we're going to get to see tonight. Last year, you mentioned they jumped out to the start. You guys had to pass, try to get back in it, get quick points. But, I mean, what do you expect just from the balance tonight, being able to kind of run when you need to and also just let that explosive passing game get going?
Yeah, I mean, what we do offensively, we're going to take what they give us. I mean, obviously, if they're loading it up on us, then we're going to have to throw it. If we get light boxes, we're going to run it. So we'd be one-dimensional in what we do. We try to spread the ball around and, ultimately not try to confuse things for our kids, just make it simple. And, we like to play with some pace, and hopefully we'll get some good first down calls. We'll be able to start, cranking it up a little bit.
Yep. And then what have you seen from AJ this season from last year, just how confident you are in his game and just how his approach has just matured this year?
Yeah, I mean, AJ, he's a a competitor, but he also prepares, like a pro. When I say that, we're going to do things throughout the week to challenge him in practice, and then we're going to challenge him in the rooms. And he's able to understand what we're trying to do, where we want to go with the ball. I think his preparation has kind of set him apart this year with the start he's having.
And then Ricky Johnson, I mean, had a huge performance last week. He's been a touchdown machine for you, big-time playmaker. I mean, how has he just improved his game, just being able to get open and just be that reliable target?
Well, Ricky, he's a very talented player. He hasn't played the receiver position for that long, in his career. And so he's really, you can see the difference in a year of just getting reps and spending time in the offseason throwing with AJ. They both compete on a 7-on-7 team together in the offseason. So they've got some chemistry together. And that obviously has showed in the season. But we've got, multiple guys that we can throw the ball to. And as soon as you try to take away one, the other one's going to have success. It's kind of what we're been leaning on. And so, again, we just try balance. But for sure, Ricky has done a great job for the first half of the season.
And then defensively, what have you seen just from your defensive line, your linebackers this season, just how they physically have been able to match up with these opponents?
Well, we've played multiple guys on the D-line. We've created some depth at that position, so that's obviously helped us. Last year we were a little thin. We've moved some guys around to play this year, and they've really stepped up in their play. Again, we've got some depth at that position. Last year we played a lot of guys both ways, and I think this year it's helped our team. Just to be a little bit more fresh in games. And then our secondary does a great job of, containing pass teams. And so we've got some really good players in the secondary. So there's, a lot of bright spots for us. We're not a finished product by any means. So we're just trying to get a little bit better each day in practice. And, hopefully it leads to good success.
Yep, and then, I mean, you talked about the fast start Lee County got out to last year. I mean, sometimes these matchups turn over, but, I mean, do you really feel like getting off to a good start, setting the tone, that's just going to be pivotal tonight? Looks like it froze up right there. Hold up one sec, guys.
Well, absolutely. Like I said, our philosophy and our idea on offense is to play basketball. If you're agreeing out,
so I can't change the frame,
and your defense in a bad spot. So we've got to start fast. We've got to have good first down calls so that we can get to where we want to get with our tempo.
Defensive tackle, 250-pound
they've got
senior.
a tremendous defense. We got
they're gonna want to run the ball.
So
he said if they come out and not only try to establish that running game, but if they're able to break out, get some big plays, and get on the board first, it's going to be key for them to have those responses, keep the game tight, dictate the pace, and then you have the playmakers. Ricky Johnson, his 3 touchdown performance, he's got 9 on the season. You got a quarterback, 18 touchdown passes, just 1 interception. He's not turning the ball over. He's experienced. Najee, see if the volume went out. I think it froze up. Can you hear me? Okay, hold up. I heard it like cut out. See, you just go to an ad maybe. And then if we can't get it back, it's...
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
Range, mine's still there.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
All right, looks like we're back, but Coach Edwards is frozen up, so I'll just get him back.
You do your thing.
But yeah, what I was saying that kind of stands out to me is he's talking about last year how Lee County got out to a fast start. Well, that's kind of a worst case scenario because Lee County has the ability to physically finish with their run game. They got Chroma at running back. It's no secret. He's been absolutely killing it this season, coming off a big sophomore campaign. He looks even better as a junior. And so if they come out and try to establish a run and then are able to break out explosive plays and get on the board early, that's tough because you want to control the pace, especially against a team that can run the ball successfully. So I think Houston County coming out with the energy. We mentioned A.J. Hill. He's not turning it over. He's confident. He's big. He's been in major games throughout his career, but 18 touchdowns, just 1 interception. Just come out, get off to a strong start, put pressure on Lee County, and I think that is going to be so key because a fast start for Lee County with that run game, it can really get out of hand. And then we talked to Coach Fabrizio last week. They were bouncing back from their loss to Colquitt, which Colquitt has one of the better passing attacks. We'll see how Houston County stacks up. I think they will be able to have success with their offense. They're going to take what Lee County gives them, but you see the numbers from that Lake Gibson game. Lee County produced 10 sacks. So they're going to have to really communicate on that offensive line because it's obviously skills, but when you get 10 sacks, you know that they had to watch that on film. You're going to have to get the ball out quickly, not take those losses. Hey, Coach, sorry about that. We froze up for a bit. My last question before, it was just about getting off to like a fast start. Do you feel like that's just going to be the most important thing today? Even, I mean, some games you say, okay, we got to protect the football, control the pace, but with this Lee County team, just being able to go out there and have a good first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in order for get to where we want to be as far as our identity on offense, we've got to get off to a fast start. We've got to get great, first down plays, P and 10 starters. We've got to be able to get some positive yards and not get behind the chains. If we get behind the chains, it could be a long night. They'll pin their ears back, and like you've mentioned, they're good at sacking the quarterback and putting pressure on them. And so we've got to be able to neutralize them with positive plays and changing things up.
And then, just what have you seen this year from your special teams units? What can we expect tonight?
Well, special teams, another bright part for us. We've added a coordinator on that part of the game, and he's made a tremendous impact with our special team. We've got to do a great job with field position. We're going to have to punt, and they're going to have to punt. We've got to win the field position on special team and make sure we're protecting the ball and doing all the things that you got to do to be successful.
And then last week, coming off a big win over Warner Robins, they've been an interesting team. Obviously, they can pretty much compete with anyone. They always make a run. But what did you see defensively last week with your guys just being out there confident, holding them scoreless for, I think, 3 quarters until the final points, but just defensively being able to shut down a team for an entire game?
Yeah, a lot of weapons, Robin, so that's meant to our defense and defensive staff. Together, a great game plan. Taking away their weapons, and so they couldn't get them the ball. Did a great job in the secondary, shutting them down. Ultimately, kind of neutralized them, and we were able to get to a quick lead on them.
Fantastic. All right, we're breaking up a bit, but Coach Edwards, I want to thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you in a few hours. Cannot wait for this game. It's going to be a fantastic region opener. Best of luck tonight, Coach.
Thank you, Craig. Look forward to seeing you.
Awesome. All right. So there you have it. One of the big matchups on the Week 7 schedule. An outstanding region opener. Houston County's 5-0. Lee County's 4-1. Their only loss was to Colquitt County. And I believe in that one, they had a ton of penalties, over like 110, 120 yards. Had several turnovers, and it was a pretty frustrating game. But the reason I bring that up is Colquitt has a fantastic passing unit, and they obviously were able to have success and find holes in that Lee County defense. And a lot of that is just protecting the quarterback. But as long as they aren't taking sacks and having positive plays, I expect Houston County's offense to be able to take what Lee County's giving them. I think it will be just a key to see how do they come out. Are they poised? What's the tempo going to be? Will they be able to get stops on Lee County's offense? Can they team tackle and force Lee County to try to pass the ball? I mean, it is going to be a really intriguing matchup, and it's an opportunity for us to possibly witness Houston County getting their first ever win over Lee County. That would be, I mean, it'd be significant, but at the end of the day, I think Region 1, you look at Thomas County Central also, I think all these teams are going to be able to make serious noise, but you're going to want to have that home field for sure. All right, let's see if there's any other games I wanted to point out, and then we will go ahead and wrap it up because we have a long drive to go. All right, there's a couple Saturday games. Douglas County plays this Saturday. Spalding plays Griffin on Saturday. Let's see. I know there were a couple. Okay, Glen Academy at Effingham County. I'm interested in that one. Effingham County is a solid team. Glen Academy is coming off that dramatic win over Brunswick. We'll see if they can keep rolling. Lovejoy against Woodward Academy. See how Woodward Academy opens up its region schedule. Let's see, Alexander at Hughes. You got Mundy's Mill against Jonesboro. A huge matchup to set both those teams up in region play. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Mays Creekside game. That should be a big test. We'll see how Creekside looks. The thing that I really like about Creekside, they know what they're good at, period. Defensively, it's not about, oh, does our opponent like to run or like to pass? They just go out there knowing that they're fast, they're going to hit you, they're going to play together, they're going to play tough. Offensively, is the defense good at pass defense? Are they good at run defense? It doesn't matter. Creekside knows that they're good at establishing the run. They're going to go out and do that. So I just think when you have a team that's confident in what they're good at, what their strengths are, and they have that identity, that makes it very tough to get them uncomfortable. And between McCrary and Travis Terrell in that backfield, that is a potent combination right there. Cambridge at Greater Atlanta Christian, I talked about that already, but honestly, I think that's one of the most intriguing results to see just moving forward in 5A. Let's see, the Wayne County-Burke County game. If Burke County comes out and gets a big victory on this Wayne County team, I'm thinking that they're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Benedictine because Wayne County's defense is no joke. The offense hasn't been as good this year, but Burke County's been stacking up huge victories. Trinity Christian at Stars Mill, massive matchup. Trinity Christian can win that one. They're going to be in the driver's seat. You got the East Forsyth, another team that's having a historic start. They play East Hall. If they win that one, they are one game closer to the first ever playoff berth. Prince Avenue Christian 6-0 against Mary Persons 4-1. It's a big opportunity for them. Peach County and Carver Atlanta. Peach County finally got on the win column last week. They beat Hardaway. I think it was like 41-0. And then Carver Atlanta is 1-3. They've played some really tough opponents. So a 1-4 Peach County, 1-3 Carver. Let's see how much progress both those teams have made so far. Let's see. A couple more. Yeah, Stevens County, Monroe area. Let's see what the Indians do. See if they're a real contender in 3A or if it's going to be a rematch between Cedar Grove, and Calvary Day, potentially Sandy Creek. Let's see. Yeah, the Providence Christian, Kings Ridge. We're going to watch that one. Elbert County and Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon had a big loss to Athens Academy last week. They're 4-1, so is Elbert County. But we're going to keep track of all these. Tune in tonight. We'll be live from Houston County on Peachtree TV. You can go to the Score Atlanta Twitter page. We have the links sent out to stream the matchup, and we'll have all the coverage there. But thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to all the teams tonight, and we'll see you again on Monday.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.